ranks third globally for password forgetfulness. So if you've ever forgotten your password, thankfully you're not alone, and don't worry, it's not your memory. The UAE apparently ranks third on a list of countries where people are most likely to forget their passwords, and this is according to a study by Fonzo.
Well, the report says that in most cases, UAE residents forget their Gmail passwords, and the average time between password resets is 2 years.
Yeah, maybe it's twice a year. I think it could be twice a year. And Iceland, by the way, leads rankings as the world's most password forgetful country. Luxembourg follows closely in second place, while the UAE is ranked 5th and the US is ranked at 10th place. How on earth do they figure that out?
Well, you know what? I don't know how, but I know one thing for sure is that I forget all of my passwords all the time.
So what's your hack?
My hack is to change them every time. It's like, you know, it's like, I swear to God, I'm always like, oh, forget password. And it's like,
it's so annoying.
You can't use the old password. I'm like, what do you mean you can't use the old password? That's exactly what I wrote before, and then you said that it's the wrong password. Yeah, it's kind of like annoying. And
who are you talking to?
To Password Station.
Sono, who made this list, by the way, is an open source password manager. So I understand why they want to tell us that our memory is bad, because then we could use a password manager. I haven't gone down that. I'm really old school. All my passwords are written in one place, but I try and put like random names on them that only I would get. So it's like my own personal passwords, because like we all had that original one. So like, okay, let's do like a show of hands. Like, is your password? Because remember those password questions that you had to answer when we first made passwords? Like, is it based on like the street where you live, the first holiday that you took, your mother's maiden name? Your first pet.
Yeah.
And the street where you live. Is anyone's passwords related to any of those things? Raise your hand. Just me? Are you serious? Okay. Is no one's password is related to any of those things? What are your passwords based on? How do you remember?
I mean, I used to, that's the point, you know, because like I used to have my password done as like my favorite song.
Nice.
But then I would forget because I have a lot of favorite songs. And I'd be like, oh yeah, I tried this one. And then I have a password from school, from the school portal that I till this day remember. And it's a very complicated password, but I remember it because I used to like write it every day, you know, to open the school portal and everything. I use it, but I forget it sometimes.
Well, I'm the same. My password that I use most regularly is from back in the day. And by the way, it's random. But I've had to change it over the years because originally it was related to those things. But because you know the way it's like update it and then you forget it and then it's like, oh, you've used this one before. So now I've got like numbers, I've got all sorts of exclamation marks at the end, and then I have to change the word because I've like outdone that. Yeah. So I've got levels of like, it used to be like first pet and then it went on to something else, and now it's this random words that like I can relate to. And Gmail is the worst. We have to update it all the time. I think it's a security system at work that we like continuously have to update it. So I've got all sorts of like random phrases.
I'm always
with
like,
random digits at the end.
I'm always like annoyed. I'm like, oh my God, I know my password, but Gmail would not let me enter my account. That is, and I would like have like a you know, like an internal conflict between me and myself, and then it would be like, fine, you can change your password. And then I change my password. And then they go like, yeah, but you can't use that because that's your old password. And then I go into another cycle of like, how come? I used that. I did.
So annoying. I hate that. That happens to me all the time. We have just become the perfect ad for the people who wrote that study. Yeah, you know, clearly these interesting report. If you'd like to read more about it, it's on our feed.